Hi everyone, welcome back to the Creative Shelf. You are joining me in what has been a cold, drizzly, dark, damp weekend here. So welcome to new subscribers, welcome to those who don't know me. This is the Creative Shelf in Brussels. So indeed, yes, you're joining me for the hashtag Tarot Anti-Bucket List 2023, as I understand. And that is because of the fact that I saw Gigi over at Ida Clark do this video, and I thought, actually, I don't mind doing something like this either. So unfortunately, I still haven't seen the person who originated the tag. I will link them below as well. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to see it. I'm sorry, mea culpa. It is just a combination of laziness and just fogginess. But yeah, so I'm just doing it on the back of what I saw from Gigi. And that is because of the fact that I'm someone that loves to plan. Yes, I get out the Excel sheets, I do the tabs, I do everything. I do and list everything and make sure I get the dates right and blah, 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 blah. And I realized that in some areas of my life, that works really, really well. But in other areas of my life, that can be very stifling. And I realized for the channel, it's not always helpful. So next year, I'm thinking about doing a framework, which I think will feel good to me. It will be good to have a framework for myself, but not so much planning. Not so much every detail planned out, having a rough idea, and that's about it. And I think that is the best way for me to go, and just allowing things to happen and proliferate. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say that I am someone that's going to be in more of a organic growth mood in 2023. So that's the first one that I wanted to raise. And I'm just going to pull out, so by the way, sorry, I have the Lightseers deck with me by Chris Ann, and I thought it'd be fun to pull out a card with every point that I'm making. So let's see what I get. I get the Lover's card, choices. Isn't that great? Yeah, just make some choices and, you know, not to be too heavy on myself. Allow the flow of energy to happen naturally. That's what I'm feeling like right now. Allow it to happen naturally. Allow myself to get caught up with passion in creativity rather than forcing something. And it is a Gemini card, right? It's the card of the twins. It's the card of the lovers. It's a Gemini card. So there is analysis in there. And there is kind of like, you know, which way or what is the right thing to do. But, you know, just allow that to happen as things happen organically. That's what I'm feeling. The other thing that I want to go on to, I'm just looking over at my notes here, so bear with me, is to do with buying decks. Now, this is an interesting one. I'm going to put this one back in, actually. It's to do with buying decks. I have found that recently I want to buy less decks. The decks that I'm now starting to open are ones that have either been pre-ordered or I've bought a long time ago. I've wrapped and I've not ordered them. I've not opened them yet. Some are going to be for my birthday and some of them are going to be for Christmas that I already planned, but I'm just buying less, and I've noticed that. So that's twofold. The reason why I'm buying less and less, so as many of you know, I came back to Tarot and Oracle decks in 2020 during the pandemic. Until then, I'd had 5 decks for 5 years. I had learnt Tarot on the original RWS and also using the Paulina Tarot, and then that was it. So I had 5 decks for 5 years and I was pretty much okay with that. And then I received a reading from somebody spontaneously. It was a lovely reading. And they had a card in there that piqued my interest. The card was from the deck Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. And I bought the deck and I just came back to Tarot and Oracle decks then, you know, and it was interesting because I had moved on and there was more decks available here in continental Europe. We didn't have much available before then, mass market or indie. It was really interesting because I kind of like went mad. I kind of like bought, like not mad, but I was buying decks based upon, I don't know what I like. So it's like, you know, I'd buy something because somebody else said that they liked that, or I'd buy something because I was like, that looks interesting and I wonder what that's about. So I was buying things like that, and I knew some were going to work for me, some were really not for me. So it was a bit of a process going back and forth. But the fun thing about it was that, you know, that I was just trying to figure things out for myself. And I think now I'm in the process of letting go of some of the stuff that I bought originally, which I'm like, that's not for me. So I've already got rid of a few. There's a few more in the purgatory box, a few more already listed on secondhand websites that will be going. And yeah, so next year I think I'm going to be buying even less. And true to form, I just want to say this has nothing to do with spirituality. I'm not more spiritual because I have less decks. I'm not more spiritual because I buy less. I feel for me, spirituality is just me being true to who I am and my integrity and what is healthy for me. And what being in touch with myself rather than how many decks I have and don't have and what other people have and whatever. I always say to somebody when it comes to spirituality and purchasing and stuff, I'm always like, yeah, it's more about whether or not that's the right step for you. That's right for you to do rather than what I think about it. So that's my answer to that one. So I got the Two of Wands. Interesting. Some thoughts about the fact that, yeah, I need to plan before I buy, which is what I'm going to be doing anyway. But yeah, this is about thinking about my outlook and really considering that and my view. I think this has got to do a lot with my view of tarot and oracle decks, and something that I'm going to be exploring next year, which for on this channel, which really will be about more about the process of working with them and let me just rephrase that. Sorry, it's going to be more about my relationship with the decks. So anyway, more on that to come, but definitely interesting card for buying less decks. It's more, I guess, about perspective here and thinking things through. So the other one that I just want to mention in terms of anti bucket list is I just want to say one thing which has really caught my attention is this is, again, I've just seen a lot of comments around shadow work, and it's really jarring. But one thing that really caught my eye recently was and this is anti-bucket list in terms of information and communication that I expose myself to. And I'm somebody that's been in a process of recovery for some time in my life, like a really long period of time. And so I've seen some of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me put it that way. One of the things that's been really important for me to learn is that we are in, or one is in an evolution. It's a process, and to allow people to go through that process naturally, not to force them, and not to, to not rip someone's blanket off, even if it's unhealthy, not to rip it off, because that is also not okay. So I like to always say that, it's about attraction towards a healthier or a more grounded and true to oneself lifestyle rather than pushing it onto others. And I say this because I recently saw a social media post that disturbed me. And that is because the social media post had been done where the concept from recovery had been taken and worded. The person who done the post has a lot of followers and is a creator themselves, so it was quite disturbing. And it was a very, very harsh post of this brutal honesty. And someone who, and I'm just speaking from my own perspective, someone who has walked that walk, not just talked it, that was, for me, really where marketing just is used. And I could see for myself that that was quite disturbing, but my own tools and processes have safeguarded me. But somebody who is vulnerable, someone who is very vulnerable, or someone who's on the edge and is trying to find their way to whatever they need in terms of healing and processes, that could be really, really just too much. If my younger self had seen that, and today much younger people are exposed to this media, had seen that, it could end in a really bad way for me personally. So I'm just saying that, like, I am going to be part of my anti-bucket list is to, to not expose myself to certain things which are not, I don't find healthy for me to be exposed to. And the card that I've got pulled out here, I've got balance again, temperance. Let me get another one because I think I've pulled that one before. The Emperor. That's an interesting one. The Emperor, boundaries. Actually, even with temperance, it's an interesting one, right? Boundaries and balance here for me. Boundaries and balance. They're both fire signs. I've got a lot of fire coming through right now, which is interesting because we're about to move into Sagittarius anyway in about 2 days. But I've got a lot of, the need for me to know my own territory, to know what I'm comfortable with, to initiate processes that I feel that are right for me, and to let go of the rest. The Emperor is really about knowing our own dominion. And it's interesting because it had the Two of Wands before. So it's giving me some messages here as I do this anti-bucket list, which is really about perspectives of the journey. So I hope that makes sense to you, but it's a bit of a weird ramble and a mix with a hashtag. I hope that's okay to the person who created the tag. I'm sorry, this is my spin on it. But I just want to talk about the fact that, and the final one, sorry, I just want to mention one more thing, which I don't know if it's an anti-bucket list, it might not be. But I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to put it under the banner of tarot elitism. And I'm going to talk about that now because it's really, again, hit me in the last few days. I'm seeing posts by people who say things like, I saw something which was along the lines of, I'm thinking of investing in this X. It was a deck because I've heard it's great for shadow work, but I don't like the images. So again, looking at the things that may have harmed us, the patterns that we repeat within ourselves, the things that tie us back to a compulsive behavior and addiction, looking at our traumas, our past wounds, things that one has done, things that one has had done to them, and then seeing the underlying causes behind them and looking at the darker side, the darker or the hidden side, actually, I should say the hidden side, is a process. And one needs some very good actual questions and pen and paper, a calm approach, and time, and support, the right support. Tarot and Oracle decks do not feature here in what I've just listed. They are a lovely option. They're something that could help, but they're not a must. And to think that then somebody needs something very specific, that tool to help them look inwards, for me is already, well, this is a great time to get that pen and paper out and look at why, rather than spending that $100 or euros or whatever. And I'm saying this because healing from trauma, from pain, from wounds, or compulsive behaviors or addictions or whatever, for me personally, should never be tied to a price tag. Once it gets tied to a price tag or an item or an object, for me, it becomes a gatekeeping process. And I feel as if that's quite a joke when it comes to tarot and oracle decks, because it's like they were originally, a tarot had come in to take away that idea of a gatekeeper in terms of religious institutions and so forth. And it's almost as if, and now more gatekeepers are added in via commercialization. So I just want to say that clearly. I don't believe that. And I feel really it's my duty to say that, because, somebody's hurting out there and they can't afford like $100 deck, and they believe that's because, and so I won't be able to look at myself and have healing. I'm just like, no way. Like I said, the right tools and the right questions, pen and paper, support, time, and a calm mind and a calm approach, to have that groundedness before one goes into that area is very, very important. So it's more those factors rather than, having that mental health kind of like base, rather than I need to spend that money, and if I do that, it's going to solve the thing that happened to me when I was 7 years old, which for me is just a very jarring thing to say. And I don't believe, I believe it's my duty to ethically say that, like, please don't put yourself down that road. So the last card that I will pull out for that and then end on that note, and a card hopefully, it's Four of Pentacles. Interesting, huh? It's like, take care of yourself, take care of your whatever you have there, and it's kind of like a little bit like, don't need the big city lights and don't need that hubbub in order to get well. You know, we have what we need. We have what we need within us. So the last card I'm going to pull to wrap up this time, I was hoping that I'm going to get a card which is quite uplifting. But, I just want to say that, like, I hope that the holidays here, I know that there's Thanksgiving coming up in the US next week. I hope that the holidays, if they're difficult for you, you're finding everything that you need to take care of yourself, whether that's a hug deck, a deck that's your favorite, whether it's the right, people to call and talk to, a funny movie to watch, or a book that you like to sit with and read, or, I'm definitely a reading and hot chocolate girl kind of thing. Anything, or, if it's a crystal or a stone, you don't have to, it can just be a stone from the park. I love having conifers and leaves around my home still to this day. Anything that you need, to help you, get to that point where you feel like, that you're accompanied and you're not alone. Just let go and throw everything that throw up into the air, the feeling of joy. Just allow things to happen. That's where I'm at right now as well. Allow things to happen organically. Don't have to have any musts or shoulds. Don't need to have X and have Y in order to feel better. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the time, wherever you are. And I wish you a wonderful start to next week. And I'll see you all soon. Take care now. Bye.